Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to talk about a system that looks like education on the surface, but is also a gatekeeping business around legal mobility, traffic school, defensive driving, and license restoration programs. This image shows a young woman holding her course completion certificate beside a driving school car. It looks like success, growth, and independence, and that part is real. But underneath that image is the deeper truth of this topic. Driving is not just freedom, it is a regulated privilege. And staying on the road often means passing through paid courses, approved programs, and administrative checkpoints. This image is emotionally strong because it shows a familiar family milestone, handing over the keys to a young driver. That moment feels like trust, adulthood, and possibility. It also introduces the central tension of this topic. The family sees independence. The state sees a licensed, regulated driver who can gain or lose legal driving status. The visible product is maturity and freedom. The hidden business is the system waiting in the background if something goes wrong. Now, this image shows a young driver smiling and enjoying the experience of being behind the wheel. That matters because the whole traffic school lane begins with something positive. Driving is mobility, identity, work access, social life, and ordinary participation in the world. That is why these programs matter so much. When driving privilege is threatened, the person is not only facing a class or a fee, they may be facing disruption to their whole daily life. Now, this image continues that feeling of freedom and confidence. Here we have a young driver smiling, comfortable, and in control. But this is also where overconfidence can quietly enter the story. The visible image is empowerment. The hidden tension is that confidence without discipline can quickly turn into citations, points, suspensions, risk, and worse. That is why the system can later step in with enforcement and then with corrective programs. Now, here the tone changes. Law enforcement is on the roadside scanning vehicles for infractions. This is where driving stops looking like pure freedom and start looking like legal exposure. Every trip on the road passes through a field of surveillance, regulation, with enforcement. The visible image is traffic safety. The hidden system is a compliance network that can convert ordinary driving into tickets, points, court contact, and required corrective actions. Now, this image sharpens that point. Here we see an officer using a speed tracking device to monitor drivers. That matters because the system is not passive. It actively measures, records, and identifies violations. The visible product is public safety enforcement. The hidden business's question is what happens after that enforcement, the ticket, the court option, the class requirement, the point reductions, the reinstatement fee, and the administrative path back to compliance. Now, this image adds the motorcycle patrol and the wider enforcement atmosphere. The patrol image symbolizes mobility being watched by authority. That matters because traffic school and defensive driving programs do not exist on their own. They are part of a larger sequence: surveillance, stop, violation, sanction, then education with restoration. The class is often the softer face of the system that begins with enforcement. Now, this image shifts the story into a bad judgment decision. A driver is operating a vehicle while holding a bottle of alcohol. The symbolism is clear. This is the type of behavior that can move someone from ordinary driving into catastrophic laws, criminal exposure, and mandatory corrective programs. The visible product later on may be a class or certificate, but the hidden reason that market exists is the real driving behavior can become dangerous, reckless, and socially costly. Now, this image shows the result of drunk and drug driving, serious wreckage, emergency response, and the destruction that can follow dangerous, unsafe, and impaired driving. This is one of the most important slides in this deck because it reminds us that the system is not purely bureaucratic. Defensive driving programs and restoration pathways are built on the reality that bad driving can injure people and take lives. The visible image is a tragedy. The hidden justification for the whole lane is prevention and correction after harm or near harm. Here we see a young driver being pulled over, realizing that they were wrong. This is the pivot in the story. It is the moment where personal freedom collides with state authority. The visible scene is embarrassment, remorse, with accountability. The hidden business begins here too, because this is where traffic trouble can become a course requirement, a court referral, a point problem, or a paid pathway back towards lawful and sanctioned driving. This is one of the sharpest image in this whole presentation because the wording makes the model visible. In person, access granted, traffic school. Well, that tells us exactly what this topic really is. The court shows mercy, but the mercy comes with conditions. The driver may avoid worse consequences, but only by entering a managed system of classes, approval, and completion. The visible product is leniency. The hidden business is paid compliance. This image shows the practical side of the supervision process. Practice behind the wheel within a structure. That matters because the system is not only punitive, it also claims to be restorative. The visible product is skill building. The hidden function is proof. The driver is not just learning, the driver is demonstrating fitness to remain or become legally mobile again. Now, this image shows young people in the defensive driving class listening to their instructor intently. This is a very powerful image because it turns driving trouble into organized instruction. The classroom is where personal error becomes standardized correction. The visible product here is education. The hidden business is converting risky drivers into certificate holders who can satisfy court, DMV, or insurance requirements. Now, this image gives the audience the release they've been waiting for. The student and instructor gives a thumbs up, and the restored license is visible. This is the emotional payoff of the whole lane. The visible product is success and second chances. The hidden business is that mobility has been conditionally restored through paperwork, condition, and administrative approval. This final image is a strong conclusion because the young driver here rides off into the sunset with a new lease on their driving privileges. That captures the core truth of this presentation. Driving is deeply tied to independence, but it is not unconditional. The state can suspend it, regulate it, and restore it through courses and requirements. So the final question becomes this: is traffic school just education? Or is it a hidden business model where people pay to preserve or recover legal mobility? The answer is often both. Thank you.